You know Netflix? I mean, we all know Netflix. It's this absolute global giant streaming just insane amounts of data to hundreds of millions of us every single day. But have you ever stopped to think about what's actually running under the hood? Well, it's a language that, let's be honest, gets a lot of hate. Java. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see how Netflix doesn't just use Java, they push it to its absolute breaking point. And speaking of hate, this is just hilarious. When a Netflix engineer gave a talk about their tech stack, the internet did what the internet does. People were genuinely, offended. You had comments asking, why not Rust? And then you get this gem, as if the programming language itself was somehow going to ruin the ending of their favorite show.
And this really gets to the heart of the matter, right? Java has this reputation for being kind of old, clunky, heavyweight, and slow. So the big question is, why on earth would a company like Netflix, where every millisecond of performance counts, bet their entire business on it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
Okay, so first things first. To really get what Netflix is doing with Java, you have to realize that Netflix is basically two different companies living under one roof. You've got the streaming service that we all know and love, and then you've got a massive film studio that's creating original content. And from a tech perspective, their needs could not be more different.
Think about it. On one side, you have the streaming app. It's dealing with millions of users, unbelievable numbers of requests per second, all happening in different regions across the globe. If one little microservice call fails, the system can just try again, and you, the viewer, will probably never even notice. But then you've got the studio apps, the software that's actually used to make the movies. The traffic is way lower, but every single action is critical. You can't have a failed save. Data integrity is everything. Failure is just not an option.
So with these wildly different needs, the logical thing to do would be to build two completely separate systems, right? One built for massive, resilient scale, and another built for rock-solid transactional integrity.
But here's where it gets really brilliant. They don't. They actually use the same core architecture for both, and that's a massive, massive win for them in terms of efficiency and just being able to maintain everything. But how is that even possible?
Well, the secret sauce is something called federated GraphQL. The best way to think about it is like a super smart traffic cop for all their data. A request comes into this one single gateway, and this gateway is smart enough to break it down and send the different pieces to all the right Java microservices in the background. Whether it's pulling up a movie from the catalog or saving production data for the studio, this one flexible system handles both worlds perfectly.
So, they have this amazing unified architecture. But a few years back, they had a pretty big skeleton in their closet. They were running on what one of their own engineers called an embarrassing version of Java, JDK 8. And this realization kicked off a huge effort to modernize everything.
So why were they stuck? Well, they were relying on some old libraries that just weren't compatible with newer versions of Java. So what did they do? They patched the libraries themselves and then started this multi-year marathon to move 3,000, that's right, 3,000 services over to a modern framework called Spring Boot. And the results? They were absolutely incredible.
Just by upgrading the version of Java, their services started spending 20% less CPU time on something called garbage collection, which is basically the process of cleaning up old used memory. Getting a 20% performance boost essentially for free is a gigantic win when you're operating at Netflix's scale.
And this chart shows the next quantum leap. The older garbage collector would cause these things called stop-the-world pauses, where the application would literally freeze for over a second to clean up memory. A whole second! In internet time, that's an eternity. But with the new Z garbage collector in JDK 21, those pauses, they drop to zero. Just gone.
And here's why that actually matters to you when you're trying to watch a show. When an application freezes like that, any requests that come in during that time just time out and cause errors. So by completely getting rid of those pauses, Netflix massively cut down its service error rate. The whole platform just got way more reliable for all of us.
Okay, this next one is a total game changer. It's called virtual threads. So imagine your app needs to do 5 slow things, like calling a database. The old way was to do them one after the other, which would take a full second. With virtual threads, the system is smart enough to run all 5 at the same time, in parallel. So the total wait time drops from 1 second all the way down to just 200 milliseconds. And the best part? The code to do it is super simple.
And this new power leads to a really bold prediction from the Netflix team. For years, the way to handle this kind of problem was with something called reactive programming, which is this really complex, really difficult paradigm that Netflix actually helped pioneer. But now, they believe virtual threads are so much simpler and so much more powerful that they're basically going to make reactive programming obsolete.
So upgrading Java was one huge piece of the puzzle, but the other half of the battle was that massive migration of 3,000 services from their old, homegrown framework over to the modern, open-source world of Spring Boot.
So why'd they choose Spring Boot? Well, it's really a pragmatic choice. It's been around, it's proven, it's super reliable, but it's also still innovating with support for things like virtual threads. Plus, tons of developers already know it, it's really flexible, and Netflix has a great relationship with the team that built it. It just makes sense.
And this is just a great little story about their engineering culture. During the migration to the newest Spring Boot, they hit a major roadblock because of a naming change in the Java world. JAMA-X became Jakarta, so some of their old libraries wouldn't work. Instead of just waiting around for someone else to fix it, they built their own custom tool that literally rewrites the library's code on the fly during the build process, making it compatible. Problem solved. So clever.
All right, so we've got a modernized Java stack running on this incredible unified architecture. The last piece of the puzzle is how all these different services talk to each other. And it turns out Netflix has a very strong, very opinionated philosophy on this.
It all comes down to using the right tool for the job. When the user interface, the Netflix app on your TV, needs to talk to the backend, they use GraphQL because it's super flexible. But when their own servers need to talk to each other, where every nanosecond of performance counts, they use gRPC, which is this incredibly fast, high-performance way for services to communicate.
So what does that mean for REST? The standard way web APIs have been built for decades. Well, the Netflix team's take is pretty blunt. They basically say you probably shouldn't use it anymore. They argue that REST is often too vague and inefficient compared to the super strong, predictable contracts you get with GraphQL and gRPC. It's a pretty hot take for sure, but it's one they've come to after building one of the biggest systems on the planet.
So when you put it all together, the big takeaway is this. Java isn't just some legacy language surviving at Netflix. It's thriving. It's a high-performance, cutting-edge tool that, through constant modernization and clever engineering, is powering one of the most demanding platforms in the entire world. And that really leaves us with one final thought. The story of Java at Netflix proves that our perceptions about technology can often be totally wrong. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other legacy tech are we all underestimating today? Just waiting for the right team with the right problem to show us its true power?
To understand peak performance, you must like, share, and subscribe to the Perfology channel now.